Hey everybody, it's been a while, but I have an interesting video um, regarding one of my friends that had a dream regarding Trump. Now, this friend isn't necessarily a Christian or a believer, but knows that I believe that Trump is the beast of Revelation or the Antichrist. And so he had this dream and shared it with me. So I asked him to record it, and we're going to play that here. You don't necessarily need to watch, you can just listen to this video. There's not going to be really any images or anything that I'm going to put up here, but I do have some thoughts and opinions, or what I believe to be the interpretation, as the best of my knowledge, of what this means, and I'll put that at the end of the video after his recording of the dream. And so stay tuned for that, because at first it didn't seem like much to me at all, but things started popping out to me, and so I think it's very interesting. So here is that recording.
This recording is about a dream that I had. It starts off in a wooden building. It's probably about 100 people or so in the room. A guy in charge was what seemed to me to be scared to go fight in the war. It was like World War III kind of happening. And I feel like we were like in the desert or something around that time. So I go up to the guy in charge and I tell him, hey, I'm going to take a couple of guys with me and go to the front because we need to do something. We need to help do whatever. And told him, hey, you can tell them, because I knew I'd get in trouble for doing that. Told him, hey, you can tell them that I disobeyed your orders or whatnot. And I'll even say that I never told you anything, I just left on my own account. And I ended up picking, so we were gonna get in a truck. It was it's almost like a delivery truck you would see over in Europe, like old school, like World War II style too. A dream kind of jumped around a lot in time frame, but I ended up thinking I need somebody who doesn't look like they're a soldier or like in the military. I ended up picking some guy kind of reminded me of like a Jewish guy, like big curly hair. He didn't have a face of like a soldier. And then the guy sitting next to him, I was never picked, but I remember thinking to myself, I'll pick a black guy, really, because, well, I mean, they cut their hair real short sometimes, and doesn't mean they're in the military. Normal guys that I know are not in the military, and they have really short hair. So I figured that'd be perfect. It would look inconspicuous, more like they were just out doing deliveries or something like that. And the rest of us would just be in the back of the truck. I don't remember ever driving out to the front lines, but this is where it starts to get a little weird. We end up at the front lines, and best way to describe it is we're on a bunch of roofs, but the further away they are, the lower in elevation they are, so we're kind of up at the top. and they're the quote unquote bad guys, I guess, or the other group is shooting at us, and they're not shooting bullets. The best way I can describe it is like a firework, like a Roman candle going off. But they were bright white, probably the size of baseballs, and like sparkled a lot. So they're shooting those things at us. And I remember looking over at the peak of the roof next to me. I'm kind of standing towards the bottom of the roof. And Trump showed up. I don't know why he showed up, where he showed up from, but I just remember him standing there. And people are yelling and screaming, and I want to say we're all yelling at him to get down, get down. And he's just standing there at the peak of the roof. But he's got his back faced, back towards the fireball things, whatever, I don't know what you want to call them. But he's got his back towards those. And he's got his arms out, like, kind of reminded me of, like, when Christ was crucified. So he had his arms out like that. And he's just standing there. And these things are coming at him. And that, here was another thing, is even though there was, I don't know, probably 20 of us or so around, all these fireball type things were heading right to Trump. None of us, I mean, we could have stood up and I don't think they would have shot at us. They were all aimed at Trump, and he wasn't getting hit, even though some of them looked like they should have hit him direct hits. I mean, a bunch of them. And they seemed to, like, once they got near him, like, curve around him. And then once they got a little bit past him, they kind of disappeared. But he never got hit, nothing. We all kind of stared at it in disbelief. And I don't know how much time went by. In dreams, it's always hard to determine time, but some time had gone by, and we're all sitting there watching these things being fired at him and not hitting them. And I don't remember if it was me or the guy next to me, but we reach up and grabbed his arm and pulled him down. He ended up, like, almost like bent over. And I feel like the minute we touched him, he became scared for some reason. And one of those, I guess, like fireball things hit him in the foot. And we get him down, and we somehow went from like a rooftop right to the ground. No ladders, no nothing like that. Just ended up right on the ground. His shoe is on fire at this point. And we pull his shoe off. His shoe's sitting on the ground. It's still on fire. We're trying to all blow it out and stuff, and no matter how hard we try, it doesn't seem to do anything. Like, the fire just continues. And then all of a sudden it turned into what I could best describe as like hot coals. So like red hot coals. And a lot of us sat there and looked at it like, that's weird. Why is his shoe look like red hot coals? And I remember we were all like, kind of like laying on the ground, hunched over type, looking at this thing for what felt like a while. And I finally reached over and grabbed a handful of, I guess, sand, a handful of dirt, if you will. But it came out of my hand like sand. That's why I said sand. And then it came out of my hand kind of like an hourglass does, like real slow but an even flow. and they just went around covering the shoe in this sand. And then I woke up. I have weird dreams like this all the time. I don't know what the dream means or whatnot. But hopefully you have time to interpret it. Um, one other thing I guess is like, so at the beginning when we were in that big room, I feel like we were fighting like terrorists. But then when we ended up on the rooftops, I feel like it was like, somewhere in Europe area. But we weren't fighting terrorists anymore. We were fighting somebody else. But I never found out who that was. Never saw them. Couldn't see them, in fact. Um, but if I had to guess, they were probably about 20 or so, maybe 20, 30 roofs down from us. Um, and they were just firing up, like probably about 45-degree angle, firing up at us. Well, I guess at Trump, because they never really fired at anybody else. It was just him. And then once they hit him, I want to say the firing stopped. Um, yeah, I can't remember anything else. I do remember thinking it was a very weird dream. I was not watching anything to do with war or anything like that. Nothing about Trump or whatever before I went to bed. Usually that'll kind of dictate what I dream about throughout the night, but I definitely was not thinking about uh, war or anything. I had something on the TV, but I wasn't even watching it. And I remember just last night before I went to bed, I turned it off, which I usually don't do that. I usually let the TV stay on when I fall asleep, and then usually in the middle of the night I kind of like roll over and TV still on. I reach over and turn it off. It helps me fall asleep. But last night I didn't do that. I kind of just felt tired, so I turned the TV off and went to sleep. But I don't remember what I was watching. It was some stupid movie or something on TV. Hopefully, this doesn't mean that I have dreams about the future, even though I've had deja vu dreams before. So who knows? I mean, I yeah, I don't want to see this happen.
So before I give any of my uh, ideas of what is significant in this stream, I'm hoping that you guys are able to provide your insight. Maybe there's somebody out there that's better at interpreting dreams than I am, which I'm not claiming to be good at it at all, but these are the things that kind of started standing out to me when he was telling me the dream. And this is basically what was interesting to me. Um, First, that he didn't really know who the enemy was when they were um, in the battle, which he described as being like in a European area. So he didn't know who the enemy was, and they were below them. And so, and the fact that the weapon used was some sort of light orb, sparkling light ball, to me kind of told me that this is maybe angels or some sort of heavenly fight. Something, maybe this is something more spiritual than it is like a physical war. But the fact that he saw Trump the highest point, um, at the highest point, and he was really the intended target and likely the enemy that was trying to be stopped, um, was interesting to me. That picture was that He's elevated himself. He's at the top. He um, didn't need anyone else. Like he was um, exalting himself above everyone else, and was putting his hands out or up um, to and wasn't concerned about the danger of the weapons that were being, or the orbs or whatever it was that was shooting at him. He didn't seem phased by that and wasn't being hit by it either. I don't know that he discussed this in this recording, but he said that to me, that Trump was not being hit at all and did not seem phased by the danger. And it was only at the very last moment when they went to bring him down out of danger is when he got hit. Um, the the symbolism of him being kind of like Christ, I guess, with him having his arms out, that was interesting. So to me, it sounds like we know Trump being the Antichrist, but he's obviously trying to exalt himself or make him look like that he is the true Christ. Um, the other really significant thing that stood out to me was the fact that he was hit in the shoe, or in the feet, basically, and that brought back, um, to me, in my memory, it just brought back images of the uh, stories in Daniel where Nebuchadnezzar had this dream about the statue that contained the different powerful leaders over time, those nations that would eventually fall, and the last nation, the feet of the statue would be destroyed by the rock, which is a picture of the rock of our salvation, him coming at the very end and destroying the final um, like nation, the final Babylonian nation, or whatever you want to call it, the final superpower that um, the rock hit the feet. And so to me, that's what jumped out to me, was that Trump was that final leader, that final Nimrod, that final Antichrist figure that is going to be destroyed. He was hit in the foot. So there's probably a lot more there, but I don't want to kind of go too much into it because I want to see what other people bring out of this dream. And if there was anything that you have any ideas on, please share them in the comments below. Thanks.